Welcome, welcome. I totally just realized I didn't actually have my banner up first. I just came on. I was just too excited to see. Well, actually, I don't see anybody. So because I don't see anybody, I may have sent out a message. So we'll see if we get a surprise guest or not. Let's cross our fingers and let's hope. It was kind of last minute because I don't see anybody. And I was like, you know what? I don't feel like just talking to myself. I'm excited for this. I want to do this, but I don't want to just talk at my camera and at the screen, even though I know that I'm talking to all of you. I want some interaction with things. So we'll see. We'll cross our fingers and see if somebody can jump on at the last minute. I threw it their way and said, any chance you're available? And they were currently in the car, but let's see if they can without breaking any laws. Like, of course, they wouldn't speed or anything to get home by any means, but they may pop on and if that's the case. And if not, then I will talk to myself to just try and give some value and put it out there. So my name is Trish Broderick. I'm with Ignite Insight and Innovation, and I've been coming live once a month. Typically it's the first Friday, but that was a holiday weekend, so I figured nobody really wanted to dial in on 4th of July. And so I'm coming this month on the 2nd. I'm kind of having I guess I always feel this way, but time definitely has this like feeling incredibly slow and incredibly fast all at the same time. I don't know if that's happening for anybody else, but it's just like, oh my gosh, half this year is over, and yet it has felt like the longest half of the year ever. So I'm not sure what that says or what I should take from that. I'll probably have to sit with that some. It's not the first time I've experienced it, but before I could argue it was COVID or something like that. Now I don't really have that. So I'm not sure, but I definitely feel it right now, this dichotomy of time and what it is. And so I go live once a month trying to just give, sometimes it's just a rant. Sometimes it's to give tips, sometimes it's to explore something. And today, maybe a little of all of them might come up in this topic. Because I am helping, I'm not speaking. Well, I guess I kind of am speaking. I am helping to organize Mile High Agile 2025, which will be on July 27th at the Gaylord in Denver. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, be sure to sign up, register, get you won't want to miss. It's such a cool, vibrant community that just supports each other. I mean, I've been a part of a number of different Agile communities, but the Agile Denver community is just, there is something unique and special about it. And I'm sure a lot of communities can kind of highlight that, but there is kind of this like support and vibe and dynamic here, which is just proud to be a part of. So that is happening on July 27th. And although I'm not speaking as one of the organizers, we're doing this like organized, facilitative, collective dynamic at the end. So I'll kind of be running a little bit of it, but mostly I'll be behind the scenes running. And super excited to see the speakers, and Pratik Singh is coming in for the keynote. So I'm just really, really looking forward to the 27th. I'm already in countdown mode. And then the big Agile Alliance Conference, Agile 2025, is right after. It starts on the 28th and goes through part of that week. And this is a conference I have been attending since 2007, pretty much every year minus 2020. And if there's like one event that I've attributed the most of my learning and community and network and just growth in general, I have to kind of give it to this particular event. For a long time early on, that was the only one I went to as a practitioner. But even going to many other ones, this is still like, it kind of feels like my home base. It feels, it just feels, I feel invested. I have done every single role from attendee to reviewer to track chair to program team to running the conference to speaking at it to now this year I will be the Tuesday keynote, and I'm a little nervous. Also, which just made me think of this, is I'm excited to do the keynote, a little nervous because I just don't want to let anybody down, right? Like I am very like, I just want to do a good job, and I feel the pressure. I'm putting a lot of that pressure on myself, but I feel it. I'm experiencing it, right? But I got this message that said, what walk-on music? And I posted this on LinkedIn, but if you didn't see it because you don't read the feed, I'm not very good about reading LinkedIn news feed. And I have extreme anxiety about picking a walk-on song. So the title of my session, my keynote, is Building Resilience. So if you have a good, like, here's a good song for you to walk onto the stage, because they'll only do like the hook or the clip of the song. But if you have something, throw it in comments, find the post on LinkedIn for me, send me a message. I'm accumulating a list right now, and then I will choose from that. But it is very, very anxiety inducing trying to pick a walk-on song. I shouldn't. I mean, honestly, I don't even know if I remember anybody's walk-on song, but somehow like nobody's ever asked me before, and now I feel a lot of pressure for that, and I do feel like it kind of can set a tone, even though I don't remember a single person's walk-on song. And then Paul Booz was actually asking me like, well, what do you want it to represent you? Okay, Randy has a suggestion. I'm sorry, I can't do Kid Rock. Can't do Kid Rock. As a Michigander, I have some feelings on Kid Rock, although I do like that song. So, but I can't do it. But thank you. Keep them coming. I do like the idea of even a Motown song, right? Being a Michigander originally. And I actually even thought about like Ain't No Mountain High Enough because we're in Denver with the stuff. But that's a love song to some degree. And so that doesn't feel right for building resilience. See, like I'm literally very deep in my own head about this, people. But none of that will impact your attendance of a conference in any form or fashion. These are just the things that go on behind the scenes about conferences that giving you a little glimpse in that you don't even know that people might be stressing about these details. And this one is stressing about the details. So keep the suggestions coming. I appreciate it. And we'll see if we can find one. I was trying to think of like a Prince song or an Elton John song. So I definitely want like I don't know. I was even gonna say I definitely want, but actually I don't even know if that's true. So but it does have to have a theme to resilience. I don't want it to be, some random love song that has no tie to what I'm about to talk about, I guess. But other than that, I don't know if I have too many things. But oh yeah, like a good, Randy's coming with all stuff. Yeah, like good Aretha Franklin song. See, like, yeah. So I'll be thinking about it and hi Sunny. So now I got it. I've totally hijacked this entire live with different songs, and I love it. Hey Sunny, how are you? Selfishly, see, this is how I get away from feeling like I'm just talking to myself, is I make all of you just put stuff in and come up with ideas for me. But I'm accumulating the list, and then we'll see. Maybe I'll even have to do something for whoever gives me the final suggestion of the one I choose, like what I do for them. But and the worst part about this is it truly is like, I don't even think they play the song for more than like 15 seconds. All this stress over like 15 seconds of music. Whatever. It's real. It's truthful. It is what it is right now with things. So let's actually get to the topic at hand of what I'm supposed to be talking about. What I'm supposed to be covering is these tips because of these two events, especially coming up, starting. It's not even. I guess it's like 2 weeks from now. Just trying to get the most out of them, and what I have found tends to work, and it varies for different people. And so I want to give a number of different tips, and then hopefully if the other person is able to come on, they will be providing a couple impromptu unscripted tips of their own as well. So first tip that I'm going to give, especially if you're new. So if you're new, you haven't attended a conference before, you haven't heard a lot of speakers, you haven't you haven't read a lot of books on this content or this material and these or along these avenues of this material. This is really targeted for you even more. Is take some time with the program. So many people try and just look at the program the day of when they're brand new and they just see the title. And sometimes people get a little far out there with their title and it doesn't end up being anything about really what their session is. It was clickbait title kind of thing. Or you think it's going to be one thing, but you didn't really read the description. So in every session, if you click into the program, every session, there is a speaker bio, there is a title, but there's also a description. Sometimes you can see the learning objectives of what's going to be targeted for that session. And if you're new, it can be really powerful to get that more information when you're trying to choose which sessions you're really going to go to. Do you like this style of individual? Is that person's humor already annoying you or is it not, right? And so trying to choose when you're brand new just by title or speaker name is hit or miss in that case. And I've seen a lot of people go, well, it said the word product in the title, and so I thought it was going to be this, and it's like, but did you read the description? They're like, there's a description. And I'm like, oh, because a lot of times by the time you're on the mobile, it's just you see that quickly and you just scroll down, you don't even know if you can click on it, and it's not as visible and easy. So really spend some time in the program. Pick a first session, pick a second session with things, and really kind of read a number of things. Now, for my more experienced people, I will fully say that there are times that I pick truly based on speaker. I don't even actually pay attention to the title. I'll be like, I really want somebody with high energy. I might go with a Jake Calabrese in that moment. Or I really want to dig in on a reflective and really deep kind of mental, like internal thing. I'm going to pick a different speaker. I'm going to pick well, Diana Larson is one that will always come to mind for that too. But like, I'll pick a Diana or even a Linda Rising in those cases, right? And so like but I've seen them speak a number of times. I kind of know their style. I may not know that specific content, but I know how they deliver. I know their approach and things like that. And I love it, right? Like I know it's going to be a win no matter what. And so I'll go to those sessions. For my experienced people, the other thing that's careful to pay attention in the program is if it's a session that's been done before. Like I remember one time very early on, one of my first conferences I went to Christopher Avery's, where he was just kind of releasing the responsibility process content, and loved the session, loved the material, loved everything about it. And was so excited when I went back the next year. I saw his name, I saw the title, I was like, score. And I got in there and it was the exact same session, but I didn't read the description or I would have known that. And so whether you're new because you got to get the information or your experience, pay attention to like little things like that of like, is it a repeat session? Now, sometimes I will say, even in a repeat session, I've gotten new things because I was in a different headspace at the time or things like that. So it can always be powerful on that end. So that's my first tip, is just digging into the program, whether you're new or you're experienced. Read the descriptions, read the learning objectives until you get to a place where you're kind of like, yeah, I can just kind of pick based on knowing certain speakers and things. So before we continue with more tips, my surprise guest is here. And so I'm going to bring her on, let her introduce herself, and then we're going to continue with some tips with things. So hi there, Reese. Oh, no,
Hello.
I've got you blurry. Do I got you coming in yet?
I'm blurry.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Just on my screen a little bit.
Huh. Let me change my definition. Maybe it's just, the internets are doing the weird thing.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. There we go.
Reese, you got to introduce yourself, though.
All right.
I didn't tell them who was coming on. I just said I might have a surprise guest that I just totally, like, are you available?
So yes, I'm Reese Schmidt. I guess my relevance to this conversation is I'm on the program team for Agile 2025. as well as I've been on the program team for a number of other conferences and meetups. So I love building programs, man. It's my jam. I like bringing really fun content to all of you eager brains.
So when I was sitting here today, I was like, people don't want just my tips. And I was like, why don't I get one of the program team members from Agile 2025 to join me? So I was like, are you available? She's like, I'm in the car right now. I'm like, well, get home. But you didn't speed, right? No speeding. Like,
no, there was no speeding.
There
were 2 stops that I had to make along the way, or I would have been here 10 minutes ago.
Perfect. So I gave the first tip of just kind of digging. Don't just look at the title, right? Yeah. Like you got to look at some of the other content. What would be one of your tips? Like maybe for a newbie person, like brand new, never attended. Because typically most conferences have like 60% new each year. So what's one of your top tips for, and this is unscripted, I'm putting you on the spot. What's one of your
my top tip is know what you want to get. So know what you're coming in for, like a goal. So, hey, inside my organization right now, we're having a ton of challenges with communication at all levels and just kind of like seeing where things are and transparency. So I'm going to go hunt down a bunch of different sessions that are going to give me different nuances to that maybe topic or something like that. Or I'm trying to figure out how to get, better collaboration among team members or something like that. So I'll come in with like, what are my 2 or 3 kind of either problems I'm trying to solve right now, or things that I'm trying to like grow my facilitation skills, or I'm trying to grow my leadership communication skills or whatever. So I'll come in with like an actual goal and then try to kind of plot out a path that will help me achieve that goal.
Yeah, because that's actually what plays into one of my tips of things is you have to approach the conference not as a training course, but a learning opportunity. And here's what I mean by that is a training course will set it up really lovely. Like they'll if you came in going, I want to learn about collaboration, they're going to teach you the definition of collaboration first. Then they're going to teach you some basics. And then they're going to, right? Like, and it will be like this nice flow that will be going through, and it makes it really obvious how to get to the end of your accomplished goal. In a conference, you have to have this outcome you're targeting, but you have to create that learning. And sometimes, depending on how the program's set up, it's not a smooth path, which honestly, none of our careers are a smooth path, but it is different than a training course in that you're getting piecemeal for things. And sometimes you got to connect the dots. Sometimes it's that lunch conversation you're having with somebody that you're like, okay, I just learned about this, but I'm not sure I fully understand this. And they may be able to help you fill in that blank that a training course would have provided, but a conference makes the assumption that you know certain thing or whatnot. And so I always kind of warn people about that a little bit, that you have to go in understanding that you're adding to a toolkit for those outcomes, not a full cohesive, obvious flow path learning.
And you may get little bits and pieces here and there. And know that as a conference organizer, we do think about those things. We try not to have like all of the, product ops things happening at the same time. We try not to do those. And then life happens and a speaker's like, hey, I have this thing I have to do on Monday. Can you move me to Wednesday? Oh, I had this thing happen. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, great. All of our vision and goaling things are at the same time. Sorry, friends.
So I know I'm having flashbacks to how many times you have to like swerve, and the more that you would think it get easier, the bigger the program is, because there's more rooms, but somehow that just makes it easier to lose or miss something, right? So it's trade-offs with things. So another one of mine is building on that is one of the coolest things, and this is consistent with Agile Alliance events, but honestly, I have found this to be consistent in all Agile related conferences, is the speakers want you to talk to them. Like, this isn't one of those things. I went to a conference outside of the Agile community, and I'm not kidding you. The speaker finished, and then there was a whole group of people that like bodyguard surrounded the speaker and like hurried them off the side out a back door so that nobody could talk to him. I was like, ain't that big of a deal. Yeah, it was the weirdest thing to me. Like, it was just not, it was so surreal. and maybe that's necessary. Maybe he had someplace to go, but then I saw him later, so I don't think so. And it was just a weird thing for me because in the Agile community, you expect it, right? Like you as a speaker, you want people. Now, I've had times, I will fully acknowledge and say, I've had times where somebody will be like, I liked your session. And you're like, thanks. And then you're waiting for something more, and then they just stare at you, and it's a little like, so I have found how to respond to those things, but generally ask your questions, like ask questions, engage deeper in the conversations. If they don't have time, they'll say something like, hey, I'm going to be signing books or at the exhibit hall at this time, come find me, we can dig in even further because I got to get going to this other thing. But it is not, you are not inconveniencing any speaker. And even if you're someone like me who will not stop talking that entire week ever, like there will be people like I will be talking to somebody pretty much the entire time. Interrupt. It doesn't matter. It's just me and Reese shooting the crap and we talk, you know, and you can interrupt and talk with people. It's not seen as rude. It's not seen as like it. In fact, it's desired. It's absolutely desired.
And I think building on that to make that less awkward, like, yeah, come up, tell somebody you like their talk, but come up and like engage with it. And because, and this is funny, this is actually a lesson I learned from you, Trisha, that I actually told you about yesterday when we were talking about something else, but there's so much editing I have to like do. Like there's probably 5 hours worth of stuff I want to talk about that I shoved down into that 75-minute container. So if you give me a chance to talk about all the stuff I edited out, I will be so happy. Like, please let me like nerd out on that like thing that I had to put one slide about because I knew it wasn't fully relevant, but it's really fun to talk about. Like, let me do that. And so like those speakers are going to be in that. I don't know a single speaker that was like, man, I had trouble filling 75 minutes of content. Like they had trouble squishing it down into 75 minutes. So there's more to talk about and there's more depth. And if something you want to like learn more about, they just kind of brushed over, go ask about it. They've got that depth. They didn't just make the slide. Like they edited out a ton of information that was going to be on that slide. So.
Well, and this is their topic they're passionate about, right? Like, this is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about resilience. I want to talk about power data. Like, these are the things that I'm talking about this content because I want to talk about this content. I want to dig into it. I want to start exploring problems. There's a reason I'm bringing it up. It's not something that I'm trying to avoid or I'm, this conversation because that's the topic. Now, if you come up to me with something completely off my topic, you're like, I saw a session you gave 7 years ago, and I'm like, I don't remember, right? Like what those things are. But that said, I still would rather you coming up and chatting, right? Like and talking with those things. And I think to back on my experience, I mean, I opened this with saying that the Agile Alliance in particular is probably one of the ones that has contributed the most to my networking community. It's like, it truly is because of that approachability and the accessibility across the board. It truly has developed connections and relationships that I have leveraged, benefited from, hopefully paid forward over these years in ways that it's just the impact I can't even begin to articulate. And so that's one of the coolest parts is being able to doing that, right? And having that. And I find it amazing. And I also, that's where like now I'm not saying that there are not some people in the Agile community that are arrogant or not, but it is the coolest thing is to watch the humbleness of most Agilists in terms of things where somebody will be sitting. And I remember somebody was sitting and they were sitting next to John Kern in my session. And Diana and I were doing a session a couple of years ago at the Agile conference. And John Kern was sitting at a table, but he's just randomly sitting at a table. He's not drawing any attention to himself, right? He's sitting there. And then this person who was sitting at the table realized who it was because I think Alistair Coburn had come in and said something to him and
sat down
and was like, talk. And then like, and things like this. And somehow it ended up figuring out who the person was, right? Like who John was. And then they came up to me afterwards, like, I was sitting at a table with John Kern and didn't even, like, I was like, well, that's the coolest part, is that you're just collaborating with people and getting to engage, and we're just humans. And yes, there are some people that might not play out for, but majority of people, that's the case. And that's one of my favorite things about the conference.
And you're going to find those people inside your companies too. You're going to find the VP that you can't go sit down and have lunch with too. But like, remember, all of these Agilists were in your exact same seat before.
And
all
they
these
wanted
authors,
to, right?
Speakers, VP, like all of these people were sitting in that exact same seat. They were in that exact same, like, maybe not exact same role, but they've all been individual contributors before. They've all been project managers before, or product managers, or engineers.
Or some still wish we were.
Or some of us are like, please let me put my fingers to the keyboard. I don't want to be in the spreadsheets.
But that does mean you have to get out of your comfort zone, especially if you're not an extrovert. But there are different tools and ways of doing it. One of the coolest things is a lot of times there are different activities. Like, I know that there's Agile advice and at the big conference. Oh, no?
Not this year. We're actually doing something different. We're doing a sense-making lab. I don't have all of the details on it because Chris Merman, our conference chair, he's been really running with that conversation, but it will be happening. So it's going to have a similar flair, but it's going to be a
new experiment. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, new experiment. So yeah,
but there are things like even the exhibit hall with different sponsors. I know I'll be doing like a book signing, period where it's easy access and to walk up to somebody and to talk with them with things. And so there's just different ways. But in general, like a lot of times, just sit at a table with people you don't know for lunch.
Yep.
I still do that. I know a ton of people at these two events. I will purposely try to sit at a table with people I don't know just to engage. What's one more tip that you got for newer experienced?
I know I told you to like go and find your path and like figure out your goal and whatever, but be able to respond to change. Don't listen to your body, be able to respond to it. You may not be able to go to every single session that you wanted to. It might be full. You might.
Oh, we lost her. I didn't think her connection was holding very strongly, so she might come back on with that. But it's a really good tip that oh, there we go. Just connecting back up. Hold on, adding you back in. There we
Sorry.
go.
I don't know what happened. It just all stopped.
You took a break. That's what you were demonstrating, the tip, and you took a break.
Yeah. So the room might be full. You might be in a hallway conversation with somebody that is maybe going to be more valuable than that thing you might have learned in this talk. Maybe not. Or you're just out of spoons, or you're just out of energy. And like, you might be okay taking a moment and just sitting there and having the coffee, and somebody might walk up to you. There's a fun little coffee lounge that's like right there in the middle of all the things this time around. So there's going to be a lot of just like kind of that relaxed time too. So
I did last year. I had a pool session hour. Like I was like, I need a pool session. And it actually was incredible. Like this, about a handful of us all went to the pool, and we did actually have kind of an open jam, like open space kind of session there. But it was like, I need a pool session. I need a pool block. Right. But just mentally to like have a different perspective with it. And it's okay.
It's okay. Listen to your body. It's a lot to cram into 3 days.
And especially, and then here's where I'll leave with today is kind of a combination. Ask for help. There will be purple shirts at Agile 2025, and then there'll be these like orange to blue gradient bowling shirt volunteers at Mile High Agile. And our sole purpose as volunteers is to help people. And that help could be where the bathroom is, to, I don't know what to choose for the next session, black. I need some help looking at it. And it's probably one of my favorite things is talking with somebody and they're trying to figure out their outcomes and what they want to go for and where to help kind of point them to possible options and things like that. Ask for help. Engage with the volunteers, thank a volunteer. But like, don't be afraid to use those resources in that way. That like there's a lot of volunteer pride at both of these events, and it's probably one of my favorite things as well. And it has, you know, purple shirt pride has been a thing, and as a former volunteer myself for that that event, like it's a real thing that there's that servant leadership of helping people and stuff is there. So take them up on it, like engage and ask, and no question is stupid in those regards.
No, we all want you to have the best experience possible. We want you to experience an amazing program, make wonderful connections, lasting memories, all those things. Just because I'm wearing a jacket that looks official does not mean that I'm busy. Does not mean that I cannot talk to you and point you in the right direction. It just simply means I have a uniform while I'm here so that I'm a little bit of a guidepost. Like,
I thought you were going to say, just because I have an official jacket doesn't mean I'm for official. Don't mistake me for formalities.
That's true. I mean, that's also going to be true in most cases, but you know.
Perfect. Well, hopefully you got some tips out of here. If you have more, please feel free to add them to the comments. And again, if you have suggestions for walk-on song, I am taking them for a little bit longer, and then we'll see what I end up landing with. So thank you. And if you see one of us at the conferences, please be sure to say hello.
I think we'll both be at both. So yes. Yeah. Bye, y'all.